Titanic tourist submarine may be stuck in ship's wreckage 12,500 feet below Atlantic. Cold War sonar plane and second sub deployed in race against time. Hunt for vessel that has 60 hours of air left and has been missing for more than 24 hours. The missing tourist submersible with 5 people on board, including British billionaire Hamish Harding, has been missing since Sunday afternoon and may have become stuck in the wreckage of the Titanic that it was diving to admire. The sub, owned and operated by OceanGate Expeditions, was taking a crew of 5 people, including company CEO Stockton Rush, French explorer P.H. Nargeolet, and Harding 12,500 feet underwater, as part of its $250,000 a head Titanic tour. The crew launched at around 4 a.m. on Sunday, but lost communication with the mothership just 1 hour and 45 minutes later. According to OceanGate's website, the sub can last for up to 96 hours underwater, with 5 people consuming oxygen. But more than 30 hours into the rescue mission, it is still nowhere to be found. At a press conference, Rear Admiral John W. Mauger said the U.S. Coast Guard is working as hard as possible to find it. While lives are at risk, C-130s and P-8s are now being used to assist in the search in the remote area of the ocean, 900 miles east of Cape Cod and 370 miles southeast of southernmost Newfoundland. Mauger told the press conference on Monday afternoon, "We're working as hard as possible, bringing all assets to bear to try and find the submersible. We were notified yesterday afternoon. We began immediately to mobilize assets to search both the surface of the water, search from the air, and to detect any vessels under the water as well. We've had a comprehensive search to find these people." A frantic marine search is underway for a missing tourist submersible, which has not been seen since it launched to take 5 people to the Titanic wreckage yesterday morning. "The rescue mission is very complicated," he said, "given how far out at sea the sub is. It's a remote area, and it is challenged to conduct a search in that area," Admiral Mauger said. The wreckage is 370 miles from Newfoundland in Canada, but is in U.S. waters. Admiral Mauger conceded that it may have become stuck in the wreckage, and said the Coast Guard does not have the capabilities to reach it if that's the case. "We don't have equipment on site that can do a survey of the bottom. There is a lot of debris at this wreckage, so locating will be difficult. We don't have the capabilities at this time. Right now, we're focused on trying to locate it," he said. Former Rear Admiral Chris Perry, during a separate appearance on Sky News, echoed his concerns. "It's very worrying. It could have become entangled in the wreckage of Titanic. We don't know yet," said Perry. "The wreck site is a long way from anywhere. The only hope one has is that the mothership will have a standby craft that can investigate immediately what is going on." Expedition ship Polar Prince is believed to have departed St. John's in Newfoundland on Saturday, with the submersible launching at around 4 a.m. Sunday. He added that the Coast Guard does not have any ships or subs available to rescue the Titan sub from the ocean bed, and that more help is on the way. OceanGate said several government agencies were involved in addition to the Coast Guard. The Titan subs have no way of directing themselves underwater. Instead, they rely on text messages from the mothership, instructing them where to go. Last year, a CBS journalist was on the mothership when the sub went off course. It was missing for 2.5 hours before it returned. None of those on board were harmed. Tickets cost $250,000 for an 8-day excursion, during which groups pair off into smaller pods to dive in the submersibles for up to 10 hours. The company on Monday confirmed its sub was missing. "We are exploring and mobilizing all options to bring the crew back safely," OceanGate said. "Our entire focus is on the crew members in the submersible and their families. We are working toward the safe return of the crew members." According to OceanGate's online materials, the Titan can operate safely for up to 96 hours, with a crew of 5 on board. The sub uses Elon Musk's Starlink to communicate with its mothership, because it is so far out to sea. Among those taking part in the expedition is billionaire Hamish Harding, CEO of Action Aviation in Dubai. He excitedly posted to social media about being there. Harding said a window had opened up that would allow the group to dive. "A weather window has just opened up, and we are going to attempt to dive tomorrow. We started steaming from St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada yesterday, and are planning to start dive operations around 4 a.m. tomorrow morning," he wrote. His company, Action Aviation, posted on Sunday at 4 a.m., confirming that he was diving. Harding holds the Guinness World Record for the longest duration spent at the bottom of the sea. The London-born adventurer set it in 2021, after diving to the deepest place on Earth. the Mariana Trench, and traversing it for 4 hours and 15 minutes. It was one of 3 Guinness World Records the 58-year-old has earned. He set another one for the longest distance, 3 miles, covered at the bottom of the ocean. His first was set in 2019 for the fastest circumnavigation of the Earth via North and South Poles in a Gulfstream 650ER business jet. And last year he went into space. The father of 2 who is friends with astronaut Buzz Aldrin said recently, "I used to read the Book of Guinness World Records regularly as a child. I always wondered how I could get into it. I did not think I could do it, and I didn't want to do something stupid like setting a record for the number of ping pong balls bounced in a day, or something like that." As the frantic search for the Titanic submersible was underway on Monday, family members asked for prayers for Harding, as his latest adventure went awry. The aviator, businessman and explorer is no danger to perilous expeditions. He told an interviewer in 2021 how his submarine, Challenger Deep, had sustained a damaged thruster during his journey to the truly spectacular Mariana Trench, which lies 7 miles below the surface of the Pacific Ocean. The sub has many safety features, including 4 days reserve of oxygen, water and emergency rations, he said. The only problem is that there is no other sub that is capable of going down there to rescue you. It will take 3 years to build another one. So, having 4 days of supply doesn't make a difference really. If something goes wrong, you are not coming back. Harding, who runs an aviation company in Dubai, also has the distinction of taking the oldest man moon landing astronaut Aldrin, at the age of 86, and the youngest, his 12-year-old son, to the South Pole. "Buzz is an old friend of mine," he said. "We had always talked about going to the South Pole together, and we finally did it in 2016. An only child, Harding was born in Hammersmith, London, in 1964, and has degrees in natural sciences and chemical engineering from the Cambridge University. Last year, Harding was one of 6 astronauts to go to space on Blue Origin's 5th human spaceflight, aboard its New Shepard rocket, and before another trip to the North Pole 2 months prior to going into space, he said. "People, especially as they grow older, tend to give up on their dreams. When I think of something unusual, I just try to find ways to make it happen." Naval experts say the wreckage is in such a position that it will be a difficult recovery mission. Marine traffic shows the Canadian Coast Guard's Horizon Arctic and Coppet Hobson 1752 are now making their way to the Titanic wreckage. OceanGate's dives can last up to 10 hours each, with participants spending a total of 8 days at sea on board a larger ship. In an interview last year, the company's CEO Stockton Rush told CBC that their subs had capacity for 5 people. Titan is the only 5-person sub capable of going to the Titanic depth, which is half the depth of the ocean. There's no switches and things to bump into. We have one button to turn it on. Everything else is done with touch screens and computers. And so you really become part of the vehicle, and everybody gets to know everyone pretty well. The 2023 expeditions are only the 3rd the company has carried out in the Titan.